So Triumph recently announced their new colour schemes for the 2023 Roadster lineup, and they've been uncharacteristically bold, giving us a satin orange option on their Trident and Speed Triple, and a very nice black and bronze livery on the Street Triple. Fortunately, I'm not bound by the constraints of corporate copyright litigation, so I've had my 2022 Speed Twin painted one of my favourite automotive colours, BMW Carbon Black. No point waiting until halfway through the video because you'll all just skip to the reveal. So here it is in the glorious Algarve sunshine. If you are interested in the backstory, where I sourced the carbon fibre parts from and the cost involved in the customization, stick around and I will tell all. So when I ordered my 2022 Speed Twin nearly a year ago now, I went with the gloss jet black. Not the most exciting of colours, I suppose, but I thought it sort of suited the semi-retro lines of the bike and would also lend itself to customization should I decide to go down that route at a later date. Anyway, the only other colour schemes on offer at the time were red and grey. I'm not really a fan of red bikes, nor do I like matte paint, as it's a bit of a bugger to keep clean, as I discovered on my 2017 Street Triple. So gloss black it was, more by default than through real choice though. However, having already waited around 3 months for delivery this time last year, and with no definite delivery date on the horizon, with the component shortage playing havoc with manufacturing, I agreed to take the matte storm grey that Triumph Algarve had managed to get hold of. Bit of a nondescript colour though, isn't it? And the inexplicable choice by Triumph of a high-vis yellow highlights was the first thing that needed to go, and I covered it up with some brushed aluminium vinyl, as you can see here. Now, despite the many modifications I've made to this bike, I'm not actually that into customization. I do tend to favour the factory look in general, and as regular viewers will attest, I've tended not to keep my bikes long enough to justify the outlay. But after 6 months or so with this Speed Twin, I felt it was a bike that I'd be happy to hang on to at least for a few years. It's not perfect, of course, but it gives me everything I'm looking for in a bike. Timeless looks, plenty of torque, decent comfort, and that oh-so-coveted big brake feel. So I thought I'd have a go at a custom paint job, and this is the result. Now, I did initially think of the cobalt blue that Triumph used on the Street Twin. I think that's particularly gorgeous, but after I had a good look at it in person in the showroom and did a quick mock-up, I thought it might look a bit too blue on my Speed Twin. I wanted a colour that would sort of retain the factory look, and I've always loved the carbon black that BMW have been using on their cars for a few decades, so I went with that. As you can see, it changes between a dark sparkly blue to almost black depending on the angle of the sun, and I've always thought it looked very classy on BMW cars, especially combined with an ivory leather interior. Now, the names are a bit confusing here. Carbon, the substance, as we all know, is black, but BMW Carbon Black is this dark blue. But they also do a sapphire black, which should be blue like a sapphire, but it's jet black. Anyway, Carbon Schwarz, as it's called in German, is what I went with, as it's kind of a more interesting version of the gloss black paint that I ordered the bike with in the first place. It's all down to personal preference, I know, and perhaps it's not the most adventurous custom colour ever, but I do prefer it over the matte grey I had before, and it gives me, for the first time in my riding career, a unique bike that I can take pride in. Now, I didn't go mad and resisted the temptation to paint everything, so just the tank, side panels, headlight bowl and bezel have been done. Some of you have commented that I should have got the metal headlight bezel that Triumph offers, but in all honesty, I'm not a huge fan. I like the fact that it's metal, of course, rather than plastic, but I think the silver grooves that they've cut into it make it look a bit over-designed, so I opted to just have the standard plastic part painted. Now, the tank obviously needs some sort of protection. I've applied a couple of coats of ceramic wax, but I'm not sure this was designed to resist the constant rubbing of knees and jacket zips. Problem is, the very nice Motone Customs knee pads and Triumph tank protector I had on the matte grey just don't look right on the new paint. They're too grey, too rubbery, especially the knee pads, which is a pity because they are very high quality and provide excellent grip when pushing on. As my late father would say though, if in doubt, don't. So for the moment, as a semi-temporary stopgap solution, I've put a homemade piece of 3M Scotchgard film on the tank to protect against the worst of the jacket zip scratches. But what do you think? Are there any commercially available grips or protectors out there that won't detract from the beauty of the paint job? Should I just reuse the pads I had on the grey paint or continue along the 3M film route? Let me know in the comments. Now, when discussing my ideas for the project with Triumph Algarve, we ummed and ahed about getting the wheels done at the same time, as I've never really been a fan of black wheels, either on cars or bikes. I erred on the side of caution, however, and decided to see what I thought of the carbon black bits before pulling the trigger on a rim repaint. Let me know in the comments what you think. Should I leave the wheels alone or get them painted as well? And if so, what colour? Silver, gold, bronze? Just one final tidbit of information before I get on to the costs. Semiconductors apparently are not the only things in short supply at the moment. The work, would you believe, was held up for 2 weeks while we waited for Triumph to send us the right decal. I originally wanted the brushed aluminium decal from the Thruxton, and they sent us this 3D plastic badge from the Speedmaster, I believe. Some mix-up on their parts reference numbers apparently. I did ask if they would let me have this beautiful TFC badge, which I thought would have gone very nicely with the carbon black, but that was a big no-no. TFC specific parts are only sold to customers with a genuine TFC bike, which I suppose, although disappointing, is understandable. Anyway, to give you an idea of what this all cost, I'm just counting the carbon fibre components and the paint job here, as I covered the other accessories and modifications in a separate video I'll link to in the description. Now, to ensure consistency in the weave and finish, I ordered all the carbon fibre parts from RSR Motos, who are very handily based in the UK, France and Germany. The throttle body covers were £75, the rear mudguard 130, sprocket cover 110, and chain guard £80, so that's a total of just under £400 or €480. The paint, including dismantling the parts by Triumph Algarve, transport to and from their painter, the 2 tank decals, we eventually ended up using the standard grey decal from a street scrambler, by the way, the BMW carbon black paint, plus a couple of coats of clear coat, on which I have also applied a ceramic coating, came to £600 or €720. A fair bit of money, but I think it was pretty reasonable. Total, as you can see, is bang on £1,000 or €1,200. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, of course, but I'm very pleased with the end result. Triumph Algarve promised their painter would deliver a better than factory finish, and I think he's pulled it off. Now, it's always tempting to keep adding more bling, but I think it's also important to know when to stop. Let me know what you think. How can I protect the paint without ruining the looks? Should I leave the bike as it is or risk doing the wheels too? Any other mods? How about some nice gold Olin forks? Anyway, as always, thanks for watching.